Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the podcast where we really get into the weeds of source material, books, articles, research, and pull out the key insights for you.
Exactly. We do the digging so you get the knowledge fast and hopefully have a bit of fun along the way.
Today, we are diving deep into a book that really resonated with so many people, Gretchen Rubin's The Happiness Project.
It's such an interesting story because, well, it didn't come from a place of crisis. She wasn't unhappy. Exactly.
Right. She describes this moment on a city bus, looking out the window, thinking, I have a great life. Good husband, kids, career.
But she wasn't appreciating it. She felt like she wasn't as happy as she could be, getting dragged down by little annoyances, maybe taking things for granted.
Precisely. That feeling of, my life is wonderful, why don't I feel wonderful more often? And that was the spark.
So she decides, right then and there almost, to spend a whole year focused on being happier.
But here's the twist I find fascinating. She didn't want to overhaul her life. No moving to an ashram or ditching her family.
No, her goal was change her life without changing her life. Like, find the happiness that was already there, maybe hidden under the surface, like in that old play, The Bluebird, where happiness is waiting at home all along.
Exactly. Find it in her own kitchen, as she puts it.
And her method was so, well, practical. Identify what works, what doesn't, make concrete resolutions, small ones, and then the really hard part.
Sticking to them. Yeah, that's always the challenge, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's the follow-through.
So for this deep dive, we're going to unpack how those small daily actions can really build up to lasting happiness.
Yeah.
We'll look at 3 big ideas from her project. Designing those monthly goals, building habits around core values, and finding joy in just, ordinary life.
Sounds great. Let's get into it.
Okay, so Rubin's whole approach, it was very down to earth, small-scale resolutions, like you said, nothing too dramatic. Find happiness right where she was, and she structured it month by month. January was first.
Yeah, January, boost energy. And this is so smart because really energy underpins everything else, doesn't it? If you're exhausted.
Forget about being patient or cheerful, right? Everything feels harder.
Exactly. So boosting physical and mental energy was like step 1, the foundation.
And she started with something super basic, getting more sleep. The resolution was literally turn off the light.
It sounds simple, but how many of us stay up scrolling or watching just one more thing? She found even a few nights of better sleep made a huge difference. More cheerful, more energy.
And she had these little hacks, right? Like her husband helping block the light from the alarm clock. Tiny things.
Small adjustments. It shows you don't always need a massive overhaul. Then there was exercising better.
Ooh, I like this part. The story about her dad's deal in high school.
Yeah. Put on your running shoes and shut the door. 20 minutes, 4 times a week. No pressure about speed or distance.
Just show up. The power of routine is about consistency, not intensity necessarily.
Precisely. And she found this super efficient 20-minute weight routine later. Didn't even need a shower afterwards.
That's a win for busy people. And the pedometer thing, using her own desire for gold stars or credit to walk more, that's knowing yourself.
Totally. Using your quirks to your advantage. But energy isn't just about adding things. It's also about removing drains. Which brings us to clutter.
Yes. Tossing, restoring, organizing, clutter clearing. She said it was a constant drain.
And there's research. Apparently less clutter can mean like 40% less housework. That's huge.
That is huge.
Yeah.
She described the process as exhilarating.
Yeah.
Filling trash bags.
Yeah.
But also facing her own excuses like, oh, I might wear this someday.
We all do that, right? But the paradox she found was fascinating. Fewer clothes made her feel like she had more to wear.
Because everything was actually useful. It wasn't overwhelming. Too many choices can be paralyzing.
It applies to so much more than just closets, too. Then there's mental clutter, the nagging tasks.
Those things that just hang over your head.
Yeah.
Buying that wedding gift, making that appointment.
Right. They feel disproportionately draining, cause guilt. She found that tackling even small, persistent errands gave her a dramatic boost.
Like engineering an easy success.
Yeah.
Just getting something done lifts your mood.
It absolutely does. And all this led her to a really core idea, her 3rd commandment, act the way I want to feel.
This is the big one. The idea that you don't have to wait to feel energetic, to act energetic. You can lead with the action.
Exactly. Science backs this up. Even forcing a smile can actually make you feel a bit happier. William James talked about regulating feelings indirectly by regulating actions.
So it's not just faking it. It's understanding that mind and body are connected. Action influences feeling.
A really powerful tool. And that connection, that idea of action influencing feeling, it really flows into the next part of her project, aligning actions with deeper values.
Right. Moving beyond just feeling good to maybe feeling right. Building happiness on values and relationships.
Which brings us to February, remembering love, focusing on her marriage.
She called her marriage the foundation, the thing that set the weather for her life, which is a great way to put it.
But she was also honest that it was where she was often at her worst, most likely to behave badly.
Yeah, that's relatable, unfortunately. We often show our worst side to those we love most.
And the huge insight here, her 12th commandment, there's only love, was realizing she couldn't change Jamie, her husband. She could only change herself.
That's fundamental, isn't it? The focus has to be internal. So what habits did she build?
Well, first, quit nagging. Big one. If something needed doing, she'd try to just do it herself or let it go if Jamie did it differently. Less criticism.
Easier said than done sometimes. And the second,
Don't expect praise or appreciation. This is interesting. She started doing chores for herself because she wanted them done, not for the thank you.
so detaching the action from the need for external validation, that actually sounds freeing, less resentment maybe.
Exactly. Less scorekeeping.
Yeah.
Then fight right. Based on Gottman's research, it's not if you fight, but how.
Avoid the you always and you never traps. Make repair attempts during an argument.
Yeah, because of that negativity bias. It takes something like 5 positive interactions to balance out 1 negative one.
5-to-1. Wow. Okay. That's a high ratio. What else?
No dumping. Basically, not offloading every little frustration onto her husband, processing some things herself.
Containing the small stuff. And finally,
Give proofs of love.
Yeah.
Small, everyday gestures. Asking his drink order, getting him a new toiletry kit. Simple things.
it connects to her secret of adulthood. What you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while.
Absolutely. And the result wasn't that she magically changed Jamie, but her changes created this virtuous circle. He actually started being more helpful, more responsive, sort of naturally.
So her happiness, her efforts had this positive ripple effect. That's powerful.
Definitely. Then April was about lightening up, specifically with her kids, parenthood.
She used this term I loved, fog happiness. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it's like parenting isn't always moment-to-moment bliss, right? It can be tough. But underneath, there's this deep, pervasive, maybe slightly elusive sense of joy and meaning. Like fog, it's everywhere, but not always sharp focus.
That captures it perfectly. So how did she lighten up?
One habit was sing in the morning, just deciding to be more cheerful, applying that act the way you want to feel idea again. It helped her avoid snapping or using a harsh tone.
Just a small shift in behavior. What else?
Acknowledge the reality of people's feelings. This came from parenting experts. Instead of jumping to fix things when her daughter was upset,
Like saying nobody pays attention to me.
right, instead of arguing or dismissing, she'd validate, wow, that hurts, you feel ignored.
Empathy first. That takes practice.
Huge practice. And she also focused on being the treasure house of happy memories, keeping albums, emailing grandparents updates, creating family traditions.
Like polite night or pirate dinner. Those sound fun.
Yeah, they might have been a hassle sometimes, she admitted. But those shared rituals become highlights later on, for everyone.
Creating that shared history. Okay, moving on from family. June was about friends. Making friends connecting.
Yeah, strengthening those social bonds, which we know are crucial for happiness. Again, small, consistent actions.
Like, remember birthdays. Even though she didn't love phone calls.
Right. She used email.
Yeah.
Very short emails. Applying that other secret of adulthood. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. A short email is better than nothing.
Absolutely. Doing something is key. And being generous.
But in creative ways, not just buying stuff, helping people think big, connecting people, even offering her clutter clearing skills as a gift.
That is so Gretchen Rubin. Turning her own project focus into a way to help others.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And she worked on cut people's slack. Trying not to jump to negative conclusions about others, recognizing the fundamental attribution error, how we judge others more harshly than ourselves.
And she noticed just seeing people more often made her like them more, the mere exposure effect. Familiarity breeds liking.
It often does. A big one was stop gossiping. She learned about spontaneous trait transference.
Meaning, what you say about others kind of sticks to you.
Exactly. So if you're always negative about others, people associate negativity with you. Motivation to say good things.
That's a fascinating psychological angle.
Yeah.
And she even set a goal. Make 3 new friends.
Yeah, seemed a bit calculated, maybe, but it worked. Pushed her to act friendlier, which in turn made her feel friendlier. Back to Commandment 3 again.
Act the way you want to feel. It keeps coming up. Okay, so we've covered energy and values. What about finding joy day to day?
Right, this is about shifting focus from some future arrival point of happiness to finding it now. She called out the arrival fallacy.
The idea that I'll be happy when I get the promotion, lose the weight, whatever.
Exactly. She realized, no, now is the fun part. Or at least it can be.
And part of that for her was pursuing her passion. March was about her shift from law to writing.
She believed passion fuels success because enthusiasm makes you practice more. It's not just about raw talent.
And launching her blog was key here, wasn't it? Providing challenge, novelty.
Both crucial for happiness, research shows. She had to overcome anxiety, using her own secrets. Like, people don't notice your mistakes as much as you think.
That's a good one to remember. And the blog took off, creating this atmosphere of growth.
Yeah, that feeling of progress and learning is itself a source of happiness. She also asked for help, forming a writing group, modeled on Ben Franklin.
Smart. Don't go it alone. And she allowed for small pleasures, too.
Like buying a nice candle for her office, a modest splurge that just made her workspace feel better, intentionally adding little joys.
It's about creating a pleasant environment. But what about dealing with the tough stuff, like criticism?
Yeah. When her book got a bad review, she didn't just stew, she acted. She sent a friendly email to the reviewer.
Wow, that takes guts. Did it change the review?
No, but that wasn't the point. The act of doing something positive and constructive immediately made her feel better. She took control of her reaction.
Taking control of her own feeling, right? Then in August, she focused on contemplating the heavens, thinking about eternity perspective.
Trying to cultivate thankfulness, appreciate ordinary life more.
And she did this by reading disaster memoirs. Seems counterintuitive.
It does. But she found reading about catastrophe actually gave her perspective, made her grateful for her own good fortune. It was a reminder to live fully now.
Appreciate what you have. To capture those fleeting good moments, she started a 1-sentence journal.
Yeah, just writing down one small, memorable thing each day, like her daughter mispronouncing Parmesan, little things that get lost otherwise.
That led to her third splendid truth. The days are long, but the years are short. A beautiful, poignant thought. Makes you want to pay attention more.
Definitely. She also tried a formal gratitude notebook, but found it felt forced after a while.
So she adapted.
Yeah, she integrated gratitude more seamlessly, like feeling thankful while typing her password or reframing annoyances, being grateful for being awake early to have quiet work time.
Finding gratitude in the moment, not just as a homework assignment. She also looked for role models.
Yes, imitating a spiritual master. She was inspired by Saint Therese's little way, finding holiness in small, ordinary acts. And closer to home, her own cheerful father.
The lesson being, it is easy to be heavy, hard to be light. Acting happy can actually be a generous act towards others.
A really lovely thought. Finally, November. Laughing out loud. She felt she'd become too serious.
Laughter's good medicine, right? Boosts immunity, lowers stress.
Connects us socially. Huge benefits. And key for her was learning to laugh at herself.
Like that story of the woman in the soup line.
Yeah, who diffused a tense situation by laughing at her own demanding behavior. Rubin learned to do that too, like laughing off a criticism of her project instead of getting defensive. It instantly changed how she felt.
Using humor as a tool, what else helped her laugh more?
Giving positive reviews.
Yeah.
Resisting the urge to criticize, which can feel satisfying but doesn't spread joy. She found actively appreciating things, even things she didn't personally love, lifted everyone's mood.
Enthusiasm as social courage. Protecting other people's joy. I like that.
And a really big one. Giving up. Complaining. She realized how much negativity it breeds, how rumination makes you unhappy.
Whereas distraction is powerful.
Yeah.
Shifting your focus. She also gave up fake food, snacks.
Yes. And found that self-denial, removing that source of daily guilt, was surprisingly agreeable. Sometimes taking something away adds happiness.
So after this whole year, what was the outcome? Did she become a totally different person?
Not fundamentally, no. Her basic temperament didn't change. But her daily experience did. More joy and less guilt, more fun, less anxiety. Life just felt pleasanter.
Cleaner closets and a cleaner conscience, as she put it. And she felt more in control.
Yes, that feeling of control is a huge happiness predictor. And remember the ripple effect.
Right, on Jamie. He started doing things differently too, unprompted. Managing finances, remember her birthday, even getting excited about a sponge holder.
It showed how her improved state, being more patient, cheerful, kind, made things better for those around her too. Her happiness wasn't just for her.
And that atmosphere of growth she created by challenging herself, trying new things like the blog, that was a surprise source of happiness too.
Huge. Even for someone who wasn't naturally adventurous, the novelty and challenge were really beneficial. It underlines that small, deliberate changes, compounded over time, can make a massive difference.
So it really comes down to those small everyday actions, which brings us to you, listening right now.
Yeah. After hearing about Gretchen Rubin's journey,
What's one small thing you could do today, just one thing right now or later today, to feel a little more alive, a bit more engaged, maybe just a touch happier?
give it a thought. Maybe even act on it. See what happens.